Holy hot Sam Lily. This is the Countess Aldringen, painted by John Singer Sargent. And I saw this while I was in Boston. A couple of things that I really want to point out. First off, this is a phenomenal painting. Look at those brush strokes. Yeah, those two that you're looking at in the middle there. You can definitely tell they were painted by a filbert because they are rounded towards the top. Another thing that I think is very interesting is look at how flat he created these shadow shapes and the light shapes. And then he just softened the transition between the lights and shadows. He didn't really render out the core shadow or anything. It was just softening of edges or keeping edges a little bit harder, which is pretty darn amazing. And this hand, who paints a hand like this? Well, just the best painter of all time, John Singer Sargent. Look at that hand. The Terminator is so greenish blue. That's crazy. And then the peachy flesh tones that are in the light shapes. And then you can see there in the occlusion shadow between the palm of the hand and the back of the hand where it's really nice and warm. Going towards the fingertips, simple brush strokes. Those are just simple individual brush strokes. Jeez Louise, this guy is like professional with shorthand. If you go up to the arm here, you can see that core shadow kind of diffuses out because we get more reflected light, but it stays cool in tone. In the shadow shapes over here on the dress, you can see that there's a play between warm shadows and cool shadows. The bigger space has the cool shadow brushstroke, and the more compressed shadows are warmer. This back arm, very simple shadow shape, that soft edge. The jewels, literally like 5 brush strokes, and then the softening of the form of that hand. Look at how abstract that hand looks. It's like 6 or 7 brush strokes. The individual fingers, he didn't render out everything. It was awesome. It was like, oh, this is enough. I'm going to put it in here. Makes it look so easy, but holy cow, it's so freaking hard. The shape of the face, very nice. Well done. This is something that I really want to point out is look at that eyebrow. It's warmer towards the inner portion and cooler as it gets out towards the rim. If we come down towards the jewelry on the dress, it's just a bunch of white dots, literally just white paint that is dotted on there. The plays of cool and warm in the light shapes, some of those greens, oranges. Look at the edge quality that's there on the dress. He painted wet into wet to be able to get that variation of edge quality. And the background is very thin. He did in 2 different stages, painted it relatively thin, and then these nice little bird shapes that he put in there with a couple of brush strokes, just a little bit lighter of a value to be able to describe what's going on in the form. Sargent was definitely a watercolorist, and he would treat some of his oil paints like watercolor, which I think is different than most other artists. They have to use a lot of paint. And a lot of times when we look at a Sargent, we'll think that he uses a lot of paint, but he would really build up nice, soft, thin masses, enough paint to be able to cover an area, but build up those forms, kind of like a watercolor. He would start the middle value and then increase the contrast, adding darker values and lighter values to be able to turn form. But overall, this painting, freaking amazing. Because I saw it in Boston, I probably will never see it again. So I'm glad I was able to have some time to make this video and make it available for the rest of you. I hope you enjoyed the painting.